All right, so let me get everybody's attention up front now. We have all the candidates, they're settled in, they know their order of presentations. We're going to start with Mike, don't tell me, Changari. He told me how to say his name and I butchered it again, I'm sorry. All right, so Mike, come on up. You can either hold the microphone or use the stand, it doesn't matter. We'll definitely need the mic.
Okay. Well, thank you to the chamber and to the mayor and all those in attendance today. Unfortunately, I didn't write a speech because I just thought we were coming up here for a lunch. I brought my mom and my friend today. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'll start over again. My name is Mike Changari. I'm a lifelong resident of the great city of Brooklyn. I've gone through the school systems from pre-K all the way up until I graduated in 1985. I've lived here my whole life. I have traveled, but this is my home. I love the community. I'm running for school board for a couple reasons. There's a lot of issues that need to be addressed, and it's for the benefit of the students, and thank you for coming out, students. I know most of you are in band. But I help out. I'm one of the band parents. I help out with all the time. And the way that I was raised by my mom and my dad is you do things, you volunteer, not because of your recognition, but because it's the right thing to do. And I do things like that all the time. I volunteer, and I don't put my name out there. I do it because it's the right thing to do. And that's why I'm running for school board. I've been very vocal as an advocate for my 3 children attend the district. Michael's in 10th grade, Hannah's in 8th grade, and Jonathan is in 6th grade. And I speak out on their behalf because a lot of times kids nowadays, students, bring up a topic and they're not recognized until a parent comes in and says, hey, this isn't acceptable, or hey, good job, thanks for doing that for my children. In closing, I just wanted to say I had 3 bullet points. I'm running because I'm looking out for the future of not only my 3 children, but for the citizens of the community's children that are attending the system. The other point is we need to have more transparency with the community, more activities where we can bring senior citizens and the Chamber of Commerce into the building and have more interactions with real world, real life experiences. So thank you so much. You guys have a great day. Thanks for inviting me, and God bless.
Hear me? Can you hear me all right? Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you. I've chosen to be a candidate for the Board of Education because I believe, first and foremost, that educating our children is one of the most precious gifts we can give. And also, I'm confident that I have the ability to make a significant contribution based upon achievements in my career and my personal life. I want to continue the tradition that Brooklyn is a great place to live, much of which is based upon the reputation of our schools. As I have walked door to door throughout the city, I not only garnered the support of voters, but also learned of their concerns about our city management of our schools. I benefited greatly from the exposure families with children who said they were attracted by, or actually was attracted by schools to Brooklyn, and that was the basis of the reputation of Brooklyn schools. Often I would hear stories of how they saved up their money to be able to move into Brooklyn and to send their children to Brooklyn schools. During the period of raising my 4 younger siblings, I too purchased a home in Brooklyn and was very proud to have enrolled my siblings into Brooklyn schools. A little bit about my career. On the strength of an associate business degree from Tri-C and my desire to succeed in the business world, I chose to work for Fortune 500 companies, Ratings, Rubbermaid, Care, Hoover, always progressing to levels of executive management. I experienced the inner workings of government bureaucracy when I chose to work with the 2010 census, reaching management level status and receiving recognition for outstanding achievement. I accepted an appointment to serve on Brooklyn City Charter Review Commission with the intention to make Brooklyn even better. Currently, I'm in an 8-year as a member of the Board of Directors of the Exceptional Program called Dancing Classrooms Northeastern Ohio, which is a social development program for 5th and 8th grade students through the medium of ballroom dance. To date, we have served more than 19,000 students. In closing, my objective is that I plan to use my business background to better control school finances. I look forward to working with the other board members and city representatives until making Brooklyn schools the very best that they can be. And I would be honored to be elected to the Board of Education.
Good afternoon. My name is Meg Ryan Shockey, and I have been on Brooklyn City Council since January 2018. In the 2 years on council, I've been working hard for residents of Brooklyn. I've achieved some of the goals that I set, including increasing resident involvement, creating a greater sense of community, and using my degree in urban planning through this role. This past summer, I organized and participated in community cleanups in which residents came and picked up trash in designated locations around the city. In my own neighborhood off of North Amber, I organized our first annual block party this past summer. Last year, I helped to write the county grant that Brooklyn received to update our master plan. This plan is currently in the works, with the next steering committee being held later this month. Furthermore, I spent a lot of my time in my role as chair of the Domestic Abuse Commission. Through this position, I have done research which led me to introducing legislation to provide domestic abuse victim tenants protection rights. I've also worked to increase the role of this commission, including community events like the one in April at Michael's in Ridge Park Square, and fundraising, which has allowed us to spread the word about this commission and raise funds to help with the commission's mission. I'm proud of these accomplishments that I've made over the short period of time that I've been on council, but I know that my work isn't done. I'm running to keep my seat so that I can finish the work I've started and continue to serve the residents of Brooklyn and create a strong future for our city. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I hope you can hear me. I'm Barb Politsky, and I thank you for coming. Your attendance tells me that you care for Brooklyn as much as I do. I moved here in my early 30s. My 3 children graduated from Brooklyn High in the 70s. I decided to run for office 4 years ago because I saw the city I came to love deteriorating over several years. American Greetings Lost was the last straw. Again, I am running to represent the senior citizens' point of view. For example, the rec center pool, built in the 70s, never had a ladder in the deep end for swimmers to exit. When I was 40, it didn't bother me. When I went a few years ago to an arthritis class and saw seniors struggling to exit, I decided we needed a ladder. I went to the mayor, and we soon had one. Minimal cost, huge impact for the seniors. For years, you may have seen a hose dragged across the driveway between the senior center and City Hall. Hopping over it might not faze you if you were 30. Try doing it when you're 80. Working with the service department, we will install this underground piping next week. And the Laurel Garden Club, which I'm president of, has made a $1,000 donation toward the cost of that particular project. Although this is not part of my city council obligation, with my 40 years of experience in the billing portion of the healthcare field, I decided to be an OSHIP, Ohio Senior Health Insurance Information Plan volunteer. Even with my knowledge of the system, I was required to attend 30 hours of extensive training to become certified. And each year, I have to go to a 1-hour class to be recertified. I'm able to offer this service free of charge here at the Senior Center. Just call them if you need help. With the current administration, I and my fellow councilmen have worked together to have stable finances by bringing several new businesses into our tax base and have replaced or repaired equipment and streets. Please consider this as you vote. We need to continue to move forward, not start all over again. An afterthought. As the driving force of the Laurel Garden Club, 2 years ago, we placed a blue and gold star memorial in Veterans Memorial Park, the second in the state of Ohio and the 8th in the United States to place both at the same time. I would never let anyone take one shovel of dirt and remove it from Veterans Memorial Park. Thank you for listening.
Hello, everyone. Hello? Can you hear me? Is it working? We're high tech here in Senior Center, so. I just want to thank the Chamber for hosting today, all the residents who came out to hear all the candidates speak and hear about Brooklyn. As Barb said, it just shows your investment here in Brooklyn. I want to thank the speech students from Brooklyn High School for coming out and have to give me some tips if my speech is not great. And we have the homecoming taping, so this is what's great about Brooklyn. It's just that engagement, that collaboration together. Having this opportunity for our students to come to events like these and knowing your neighbors and the fact that, I'm able to recognize, the homecoming queen. That's what just makes this community great, that small town feel. So today I'm going to cover a few things. I'd like to cover my background, some of my accomplishments while in office, and some of my plans for the next 4 years. So I know a lot of you know me. I grew up here in Brooklyn. I've been here my entire life. Both of my parents grew up here. I actually live in the house that I grew up in, and my mom grew up next door. So I'm vested here in Brooklyn. This is my hometown. As far as my education goes, I went to John Carroll University with a political science degree and a minor in business. I went on to get my master's in public administration. It was actually a dual degree while I got my law degree at Cleveland Marshall College of Law. And those experiences really kind of drove home my interest in not only the law, but also my interest in being part of public service. A lot of times in the master's in public administration, we got to hear from those people sitting in the offices right now, like mayors, or state representatives, and just the impact that you can have on your community or your state really drove home for me the fact that this is my calling. So after I completed law school, I decided to take a chance to run for mayor after serving on city council for 4 years and council president for 2 of those years. This job so far has really been eye-opening for me in a lot of different ways, but it also has helped me grow personally. I've been able to learn a lot. I've been exposed to so many of the issues here, not only in Brooklyn, but regionally, that's going to impact us. And I've been able to kind of develop some of the things and bring it back to Brooklyn for the best interest of Brooklyn. So I currently serve as mayor. I'm on the executive committee for the Mayors and Managers Association. I'm on the executive committee for the First Suburbs Consortium, which is all the first-ring suburbs around here, which many of you know, the struggles of First Suburbs is much different than the struggles of the communities that are outward. I mean, you hear our superintendent talk about state cuts. Well, state cuts to Brooklyn is a lot different than state cuts to Westlake. The tax base is a lot different. When you have a median household income of $42,000, residents are looking for ways to make sure that they can pay their bills. So when you increase their taxes, it can be critically different for them than some other people. So those are the things that we have to think about in our day-to-day decisions, and that's why I'm so active on consortiums like First Suburbs. Because we band together and we look at the interests of our residents as a total. I also serve on the Water Cog, as well as I just completed a program called Leadership Cleveland. It's with CEOs throughout the area, as well as public officials, which really opened my eyes to a lot of other struggles in our community that we need to tackle. I'd have to say that I'm really proud of this administration. One of the things that I'd like to talk about is really kind of the team that I put around me and the employees that do the day-to-day work. As you know, I can't be everywhere, I can't do every job, and nor should I. But the quality of the employees that we have here in the city and the quality of the directors that we have really have driven home the momentum that we've seen over the last 4 years. So, the things that from picking up the reception phone or responding to a resident's concern about what NOPEC does, to the big things like if you have a heart attack and you know that the fire department's going to be there in less than 2 minutes. So every single thing that is done in the city is important. The themes that I've really kind of wrapped my administration around is financial stability. The reason why this is so important is because when I was running for office, and when I took office, I knew that I would be losing American savings. This was 21% of the overall income tax in the city, 21%. That would be detrimental for any city. So once we got past that loss of American breeding, it's now about the stability. So I'll talk about that in a second. One is creating efficiency. So by using technology specifically. When you're talking about a loss that big, there are 2 factors. You also need to bring in revenue, but you also need to decrease expenditures. And without going to the residents and asking for more, or without cutting the employees, we found ways within City Hall to create more efficiencies. And we did that primarily by the use of technology to not duplicate human capital, but also what we did is we looked at vendor contracts we already have in existence to make sure we're getting the best deal for the city. And because of that, we have been able to cut about 17% of our overall expenditures out of the general fund. So again, that was a group effort. Every employee had involvement, down to ordering supplies, which we've done for one person who's now in charge, and that alone saved us $20,000 by doing one person collectively and shopping vendors. Another thing that we've tried to accomplish over the last 4 years is improve communication and transparency. I'll go through some of these things, but this is vitally important to not only the investment of the employees, but the investment of residents. If you're not hearing what's going on in City Hall, or if you don't feel vested, you're not going to take that pride and ownership in your community. So you've seen that from the updated newsletters to updated social media and the way we're pushing out information. And also targeting people. The way someone receives communication is not always the same as others. Seniors tend to like stuff in print. They want to touch it, they want to read it in print, versus the kids in the back, I bet you I can get their message through Instagram or Snapchat or something like that. So everybody uses communication differently, and we have to make sure we're reaching out to everybody in the manner that they like it. The last kind of theme that we've been reaching is maintaining our city services and improving the quality of life. Now, I think that you'll see that through some of the topics I want to discuss of what we were able to accomplish. So I don't want to go through everything that we've done in the last 4 years because we'll be here a long, long time, and I only have a certain amount of minutes. But if you want to check that out, I have the entire list on gallagherformayor.com. But there are a few things that I want to highlight. Housing is a huge component of what we do to make sure our city is strong, make sure our housing values are strong. We've updated our codes in certain aspects like vacancies and foreclosure registries to ensure that we have our housing market turning over, and you'll see that. We've had a 13% increase in home values over the last 4 years. We're trying to help those residents who can't necessarily pay for those improvements on their own. We secured a $50,000 supplemental grant to help people put money into the exterior of their home. This helps the entire neighborhood, and it has a duplicating effect. If someone is working on the outside of their homes, neighbors see that. They take more pride, and they're willing to put more money into their home. So one of those things is helping the people that need it the most, but also getting people to take pride in their streets. Other things we've done is work with Habitat for Humanity to take a foreclosed and long time vacant house and turn it over to a homeowner. $70,000 was donated by Medical Mutual Ohio. That house was completely gutted and rehabbed. And so working with those partnerships to make sure that housing stock looks good. Next is safety services. I am proud to say that we've seen nearly a 20% decline in major crimes in Brooklyn over the last 4 years. Those things are cyclical, but I think it speaks to the volumes of what Police Chief Melky is doing in his department and our police force is doing. He's made it a focus of bringing in more training to the officers, active shooter training, critical incident training, which is really if someone has mental health problems, that they can diffuse the situation. That's invaluable training for these officers. Also, using that kind of technology to help solve crimes, like forensic cell phone examination software and body cameras. This helps our officers. A lot of people were weary about body cameras. It really is, in a lot of respects, for not only your protection, but for their protection, too. And it has helped in many different ways. Community policing I'm a big advocate for. I hear all the time, do you remember when we knew all the police officers and firefighters going down the street and we can talk to them, we knew their names? Well, times have changed, but, to have the kids in the school, recognize Officer Dan or maybe a couple of the other officers and be able to tell them stuff, that helps solve crimes because they're not afraid to approach him and tell if something's going wrong. And same with the senior centers as our police officers cycle through here every Tuesday and Thursday for the lunch and talk to you. You can recognize them and build that rapport. That's important for our community. It's important for people to be able to feel like police officers are approachable. And I would attribute that to, helping solve crimes, but also a decrease in crimes as well. Also, things that we've worked on is the infrastructure and technology. I've mentioned this before. We were sort of outdated in many respects. We still have a long ways to go, but we've added Wi-Fi for all the city buildings. We've updated our network upgrades. We've replaced the whole phone system here throughout the city. Now, this sounds crazy, but replacing that phone system to a voice over IP not only helped with responsiveness and the phone system not shutting down, but it's helped us save over $70,000 in utility bills a year by moving that and researching different ways to upgrade technology in the city. Also, one of the things specifically for the senior center is we added this My Senior Center kiosk where the seniors use the key fob and swipe in. One of the main reasons for that is that if we track what seniors are doing and what are using, it helps us program better. It helps us look at grant options, and I'll give you an example. We use that data to secure a new senior bus for our seniors here. And so by using that data to our advantage, not only the program, but to put us in a good position to get dollars from other places helps everybody. Financial stability, I mentioned, our loss of 21% from American Greetings. I think we're in great financial position in the city. And it's because of all these different measures. Again, I won't go through everything, but I feel like, on top of the cost savings measures we've done, the other things that we're advocating best practices in City Hall. We've created a purchase policy. We've updated our investment policy, created a debt policy, and realigned all of our fundings, all of our different funds to make sure that the department directors are accountable for their personal budgets. That matters. As far as economic development, again, and hopefully in 4 years from now when I'm standing here, I do not have to utter the words American Greetings, but that is the hope of mine. But at the American Greetings departure, we do not know what the turnaround time would be to fill up the American Greetings Park, One American Way. And today we have 8 businesses committed to that park. You know, I think that 1,700 committed employees, and it's actually higher because Medical Mutual has reached out to me and said, we've committed to 750, but we're over 1,000 right now. So they will be here. They're doing a $34 million investment right now into that building, as well as millions of others have done for the 7 other businesses that are already located there. So that turnaround is good financially, but it's good for all of us. You know, we don't have to worry about paying the bills. We can start planning for the future. And that's where the master plan comes into update. But as Meg said, we're working on that master plan. But that's critically important to having the financial resources. It's easy to say, I'm going to do this, I promise this. But if you don't have the money to support your decisions, that means nothing. Empty promises if you don't have the finances. And we are financially in the best position possible. As we talk about a police department, which I know has been talked about for 20 years, but we actually have the money to pay for it without going to the residents. And I don't think that could have been said at any time before. So I'm excited about that as we plan and we go through this master plan process and wrap it at the end of the year, is to get some of these things we've been talking about done. Other things that I would like to talk about is our parks and green space. You know, I know this has been something that has been out there a lot, especially in this election. Some great things that are going on is the city secured over $700,000 between Ohio EPA and Regional Sewer District to do stream restoration down in Lower Memorial Park. Other things that my rec commissioner has been working on and the previous rec manager, you see the brand new park over there in Memorial Park. That was from a grant that we secured and partly from our general fund. We have a grant pending to update and extend the trails down in Lower Memorial Park. We have a safety town going into 2 tennis courts that are underutilized up here. That is a huge collaboration and partnership with schools, with our recreation center, and it's a good thing for the residents of our community. It could be something that kids use year-round. And then one of the other things is we brought in a solar farm to the closed path landfill. This was land that we could not use for many reasons under Ohio Revised Code. And we've secured over $300,000 in rent for this land. And we're using that sustainable energy in county buildings downtown. So the parks and green spaces, there's a lot of investment going on. So I know there's a lot of rumors that my administration plans to destroy the parks, and that is just not a fact. So if I have to say that again, that is just not a fact. I want to be clear about that because I know the rumors that are out there. The last thing I'd like to talk about before I want to hit why I'm running for the next 4 years is implementing best employee practices. I've already touted what great employees work here, but we need to be investing in them, and we have. We've sent some employees to training programs called Lean Six Sigma. That's an efficiency measure. Chief Elke was one of them. That helps the employees learn better processes and think about the steps that they take to get to certain practices within City Hall. We've updated the employee policy manual. And we do performance reviews that have never been done before. And that's really for the benefit of those employees, so they can hear not bad feedback necessarily, but good feedback. Why do we value you so much? What are your strengths? And let's build upon those strengths and help you get better. So other things that you want to, I'm sure you'll address in questions, but I want to make sure I'm not talking too long.
Yes.
And I'll touch on some of the things that I will find critically important for the next 4 years. So the 2016 municipal building assessment indicated we need $18 million in our municipal buildings. going forward. The bulk of that money is needed for our city hall / police station. Where it got to the point where it's like, you're wasting your money, putting any more money in this, you're better off looking at it. So that's a factor we're gonna have to tackle, and I've already talked about that. The second is our recreation center. That needs about $8 million of repair. Our recreation center was one of the first around here, one of the best in Northeast Ohio at one time, and now it's sort of antiquated. So what are we gonna do with that rec center? How are we gonna provide services? And that's something that's gonna be addressed in the master plan, and with us looking at implementing some of those measures. Our senior center is great, and we've done a lot of improvements. This particular building doesn't need much, but you know, the new carpet, the paint. Karen asked for something, she usually gets it. So you know, I think this is one of the best assets in Brooklyn in providing seniors this access. And we actually have a lot of non-residents who come use this facility, so it is important. And then our other buildings, like our fire department, are brand new. So we're trying to build that into the budget to make sure that 20 years from now, whoever's sitting in the seat doesn't have to walk into the kind of repairs that we've had to address through our capital budget and keep on updating. So we are putting a lot of money into our fire department right now to make sure that we maintain that level of needs and that we don't get to this point again. As far as our finances, again, we've weathered this storm of this loss, but we need to remain diligent about continuing wise investments so we can provide high quality services. Construction and streets, we've put a huge emphasis on the amount of money that we put in our streets, and I think you can tell if you go to other communities that Brooklyn does. And I want to continue this, but not only the streets, we need to take care of the infrastructure underground. So we've been putting a large emphasis on this, repairing cross connections underneath those streets. And so if your street gets delayed, it's probably because we need to do work underneath, and we're not going to put money up top. We're just going to have to dig it out again. So we'll continue to put high priority on a large amount of money into our streets. Greenscaping. I know there's been debate about the Brooklyn sign on the corner of Biddulph and Tiedemann, whether it's worth the value of doing improvements like this, and I would say it is. We have 2,000 employees going down that street a day, going to the different businesses. We want to market Brooklyn. Brooklyn's a great place to live. We have affordable houses. We're easy to get to from anywhere. And we want to show people who go in our community or aren't living there, we take pride in this community. And that means cleaning up the entrances of our community. We're currently working on the Lyndale Bridge at Memphis. We've got somebody to come out from West Virginia, from Norfolk Southern, and trying to secure money to redo that bridge and the area around there. Those entranceways show that we care about Brooklyn, and so we're going to continue to put high emphasis on that. Home renovation and inspections. We have about a 5-year rotation. We like to going home to home, checking exterior. We like to minimize that, so I'll be working on that as well. So we make sure we have solid housing stock. And partnerships. I'd say that great partnerships lead to great progress, whether that's with the schools, which we have a terrific partnership with. You know, Mark knows we have a meeting next week. We're talking about day camps. Certain things like that. How do we work together to make these programs better for all of our residents and students? And hospitals, we've been talking to UH about different possibilities about a private-public partnership. These are kind of the collaborations that we need to keep doing so we can not only afford the services, but provide great services. And then the vacant and rundown commercial space. So a lot of people will question, well, why did you let this business go here, or why did you let a business go here? Well, our zoning code dictates the zoning for the city and where retail is, where light industrial is, where commercial goes. And so we'll be looking at those corridors through the master plan process. But a lot of times, those things are not within the control. They're in the control of the zoning code. But we can do is we can aid businesses, and that will be a high priority, especially for some of our smaller businesses who don't have the means, providing them the resources to update their exterior, providing them the resources to look at expanding in a certain footprint, or to push them to release their vacant space and find them quality tenants, working hand in hand. So we've seen a huge growth. We've had 298% increase in people doing renovations and construction in Brooklyn over the last 4 years. And I see that as people continue to grow, because Brooklyn is a great place to have the business. And communication is the one thing that I touched on. I really want to keep going. You know, you see these changes in Brooklyn, and I'm proud of some of the stuff that's come out. You know, you see a newsletter like this, and not only looks pretty, but we have great content. The content just really goes to show the momentum in Brooklyn, and that's one of the reasons that I'm running. I've planted a lot of seeds, and I want to see some things through in my next 4 years. And I think Brooklyn is on an upward trajectory, and I want to keep it there. So, thank you. I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you all so much. I do have a couple questions. If you guys did not have index cards on your tables and you have a question, just raise your hand and we can get an index card too. Okay, so I think I have all the questions. So Mayor, don't go too far because they're all for you. Okay. Do you want me to wait for you? All right. Okay. Mayor Gallagher, what has been your biggest challenge since you were elected mayor, and what do you foresee as your greatest challenge if elected going forward?
It's the Russian word. American Greetings was my biggest challenge. The American Greetings loss was my biggest challenge. Again, 21% loss. That's huge. It was 14% of our overall revenue. That has been my biggest challenge, and I've been on that. As far as going forward is, again, the municipal needs of Brooklyn as far as the buildings go. That is, when you're talking $18 million that we need to put into our buildings and facilities, you know, that's not cheap, and we need to do a lot of planning, and we are doing the financial forecasting right now to achieve those results. And I think we're really in a good position to do a lot.
All right, Mayor, what are you doing to audit the 1099 employees in Brooklyn to make sure they're paying their share of taxes?
I'm sure this is a question for me as my finance director. I don't audit employees. My finance director would do this role. I wish I could do every single job in the city, but I can't. But he's a fabulous finance director, and I'm sure he can answer this question if someone really wants to know.
Good afternoon. So my name is Tom Raguse. I'm the finance director. I've been with the city of Brooklyn for about 13 months now. So the Regional Income Tax Agency collects and administrates our income tax collections. So we work with them on obtaining potential non-filers, those who have not worked, or those who have not paid income taxes to the city. So we're currently actually working with them right now. We do this generally every other year. So this is actually, we're doing this right now, where we're trying to make sure that these people, these taxpayers are actually on the income tax roll and paying the city of Brooklyn income tax as they should be. So right now, we're currently working with them, and we're going through this process. But we're confident in the process that Rita has and the documents and the capabilities of the organization to, so to speak, make sure that they're paying your fair share. So that's how we do that. Thank you.
I'll tell you, one thing is cleaning up processes. This is where you catch a lot of things that may have fallen through the cracks, and I think Tom has done an extraordinary job of that. We did find one of our commercial tenants who was not paying their taxes appropriately, and, you know, it's through the cleaning up the processes that you catch that, and we were able to get reimbursed for all of that, because of checking this, religiously.
All right, Mayor Gallagher, on 9/29, I called EMS for my mom. It took 25 minutes for Brooklyn to arrive as they were dispatched to Fairview Park. Why? Parma and Parma Heights had no response.
So this just happened not too long ago. We would have, the reason why Parma and Parma Heights would have had no response is that our dispatch center is Chagrin Valley Dispatch. If the person, did anybody, I don't know if anyone wants to talk to me privately about this, but did you reach out to the police chief about this or the fire chief? This would probably be the best way to go. I don't know without looking at that data. We could pull up the actual call log to see what the delay was, but that's really the only way I can give you an educated answer to this question. So whoever this is, it would be wonderful if you spoke to me afterwards.
Mayor, are you aware of gov.deals.com? If so, why are we having a public live auction at the service garage?
We use GovDeals a lot, and it depends on the value of stuff that we're selling. So GovDeals, my service director uses a lot, but it will be on one-off occasions. If you have bulk deals, this is the better way to go, and that's why we're using an auction this time, because he has tagged enough items for it to make financial sense to have an auction.
Mayor Gallagher, I noticed Gallagher signs by my house on Sunday. Next time I looked, they were Lynn signs. Any comment?
I have no idea. I don't know. My husband put out my sign, so hopefully he followed all the addresses.
All right, last question, unless we have some new ones. Valerie, are there any new questions? Okay. All right, Mayor, when will Brooklyn start to see the power that is provided from the solar panels?
We do not contract, as far as the solar part goes, we contracted to rent out our capped landfill. So as I said, we received a huge payment of rent up front. The other contract we have is with Cleveland Public Power, and they are tapping into all of our municipal buildings. And through that deal, we were able to get a lower distribution rate. So you have the electricity rate and then the distribution rate. And so we looked at our rate and we were able to negotiate the distribution rate lower. As far as other residents go, that is something we're covered by First Energy here in Brooklyn. Actually, there are sections of Brooklyn that have Cleveland Public Power. If you go by Ridge Park Square, there are some houses at the border. But that is up to the utility companies of moving forward with residents wanting that.
Are there any other questions that were not put on an index card that you'd like to ask? Now's your time. Mark?
I don't have a question, but I just want to take an opportunity as superintendent, Dr. Blackmouth, superintendent of schools. I have the teacher voice, so sometimes I'm loud enough, but I want to thank the chamber for having our students. I don't know if you folks realize we have Mr. Kelber's speech class here today, so I want to acknowledge them. They're sitting in the back. As I think one of our candidates spoke about really authentic learning, this is really an authentic opportunity for our kids to be able to see this in action, so I appreciate that. I want to also take the opportunity, because the Brooklyn City Schools are also on the ballot. As you may know, we have issue 2 that is on there. It is a renewal levy. It is a no new taxes. It does not raise taxes. Why is that so important? That will continue to provide great opportunities for these young people and the 1,300 others that are sitting up there in our schools. So hopefully take some time to really consider that. But why is it so important? The money that we receive from issue 2 is about 10% of our budget. You heard Mayor Gallagher talk about that, of cuts. You know, any one of us couldn't take that, of 10%, and how do we continue to do that? In addition, we've been sorely underfunded by the state of Ohio, and so we continue to fight that. So please consider the schools, issue 2 on November 5th. No new taxes, does not raise the taxes. But thanks for allowing my students to come here today. Thank you very much.
Well, I think that concludes our event. So thank you all to the candidates. Thank you so much for coming out and speaking to us today. Thanks for your questions. Thanks to the Senior Center for providing an outstanding lunch. It was delicious, as always. And enjoy the rest of your day. Oh wait, do I see a hand in the back? I'm sorry.
Thank you. I just wondered if there were banners on the desk that anyone could tell to all of us from the candidates who weren't present. Perhaps some of them really couldn't make them. Is there anyone who had the common courtesy to write a letter to those of us who cared enough to come who wanted to hear them to explain why they couldn't be here?
Why the candidates who were invited aren't here today?
Yes.
Well, this was a chamber event, and the chamber reached out to all of the candidates. We did get a couple emailed responses back. One of the reasons, should I give it to you? One of the school board candidates didn't want to attend for the reason that when who was it? There was a council or some sort of meeting. They sent out a citywide to the businesses. What was that? Survey, like a city survey to the businesses? Yes, the master plan committee. And because a lot of the businesses didn't participate in that survey, he chose not to attend. And then, yeah, Lynn, I'm not exactly sure what her reason was for not being here today.
Thank you.
I apologize.
Thank you very much. And I thank you personally as somebody who cares enough and wanted to learn. I appreciate that one of them cared enough to say they would have liked to share it with those of us who came their ideas and couldn't make them. But what a wonderful lesson in our government for the children and for the weedy adults. You have to go to the candidates and actually don't come to share their ideas. Thank you very much.
All right, well, you guys are dismissed. Have a wonderful, I sound like a pastor, huh?